name's Francis Briers, sometimes known as the Rev, and I'm here to offer a spiritual response to life's questions. So, something I've been considering a lot recently, I've had some questions about around leadership, because that's another part of the work that I do. And my current thinking around leadership is that we have a kind of addiction to heroic leaders. We want someone to stand up in front of us and say, I know the way, and lead us into a better place, or lead us towards whatever we're trying to achieve. We want someone who has a clear vision of the future, who knows what to do. And I think there's a reality, from my perspective, that we live in such a complex world now, with the interconnections across the globe that have been previously pretty much unprecedented, I think, in human history. We live in such a complex world that I'm not sure that kind of heroic leadership would work. Even if we had leaders who are clearly that powerful in their integrity and clarity, and I'm not sure we do. And actually, even if we did, it wouldn't surprise me if our media would would actually tear them down in some way. And that's not just a criticism of the media. That's as much about all of us. We all engage in that media to some degree. We all allow ourselves to be invited into a very cynical space at times by messages that are hugely motivated by one or two or a very few people's personal agendas. So I think we all have to take some responsibility for that. So if we're not going to be engaging with this heroic leadership, what are we going to engage with? And I think in a spiritual life that's even more important, or at least as important. I think it can be easy in a spiritual life to be attached to wanting someone to tell us how it is. Whether that's a religion or a minister or a faith, or even one of the big spiritual characters like Buddha or Christ or Krishna or whoever that might be, wanting them to tell us how it is. Now, having guidance from spiritual traditions, I think, can be wonderful, very rich way of bringing spirituality into our life. And I think, for me, if we don't find a way of taking back our spiritual authority, of having direct relationship with Spirit, the divine, God, whatever name you want to give it, if we don't find a way to have that kind of direct communion and have that guide us, then we're giving away our authority in a way that, to me, doesn't feel growthful. To me, it feels more limiting than it is enabling. So my invitation today is to consider both sides of that. If you're someone who's very independent and totally in your own space, in your own spirituality, maybe explore some of the teachings that could be out there from the more traditional approaches or teachers. And if you're one of those people who adheres more strongly to a body of teaching, what could you do? What methods could you use? How could you explore reclaiming, grasping, getting rich hold of your own spiritual authority, so that you can be guided more internally than externally by your own sense of personal ethics, rather than necessarily by a kind of moral code? So that's my gentle invitation for you today, to explore that. And these thoughts and invitations are offered as ever with love.